How to create REST connector and use it in a flow. Go to Connectors tab, click plus and select New REST connector. Enter connector name and click Create. The system generates a template to be populated. Enter base URL. In this tutorial, we use exchange rate public API that returns currency exchange rates. Click plus to add a new service. Name it exchange and click Create. Complete connector service URL using brackets for parameters. The system automatically generates the list of parameters on the corresponding panel. Update request parameters data types on service settings panel if required. Go to Test Connector Service tab, expand request parameters menu, and populate it with the test data. We are going to get exchange rate to convert €1,000 into US dollars. Click Test. Check exchange rate in the response. Go to Structures tab and create data model that corresponds to service response. Go back to Exchange Rates tab and map service response to response rate structure. The service has been created, tested, and now can be used in a flow. Create a new flow. Add from, to, and amount as flow outputs. Change output data type to float. Drag and drop new connector node to the flow. Go to Parameters panel, select Exchange from the list of the services, and map service parameters to input variables. To assign service response to flow output, drag and drop assign node to the flow. Select output as a variable and assign service result to it. Confirm. Click Run to compile the project. Go to Testing Helper, select the flow, update request with the testing data, click Run and check the result. Let's create another REST connector. Select Swagger URL and use it in the new connector for pet shop. You can see the list of services has been added automatically. The system also automatically generated the data structures. Go back to Connector tab. Select Add Pet Service, copy request body, and paste it into request on Test Connector Service panel. Change ID value, click Test, and check the response. Select another service, get pet by ID. Enter pet ID value on Test Connector Service, click Test, and check the response. Go back to Flows and create Add Pet Flow. Add Flow input variable on Flow Settings panel. Go to Local Variables, create new pet local variable, and map it to pet data structure. Drag and drop assign node to the flow. Select new pet ID as a variable and assign input ID variable to it. Select new pet name and assign input name variable to it. Drag and drop connector node to the flow. Select Add Pet Service on Node Settings and map request to new pet variable. Drag and drop if node to the flow. Add if condition to check whether service status code equals to 200. Drag and drop another assign node to the flow. Select output as a variable and add a message for the case when the new pet record has been successfully added. Drag and drop one more assign node next to the flow. Connect it with if and out nodes. Go to Node Settings, select output as a variable, and add an error message for the case when new pet record hasn't been added. Go back to Flows and create one more flow to get pet by ID. Update flow input name and map flow output to pet structure. Drag and drop connector node to the flow. Select Get Pet by ID service and map pet ID to flow input variable. Drag and drop assign node to the flow. Select flow output as a variable and map it to connector data. Click Run button to compile the project and wait until compilation is complete. Go to Testing Helper, select Add Pet Flow, complete request, and click Run to add pet data. Select Get Pet by ID flow, enter pet ID, click Run, and check the response.